Hey there everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back to the Miss Ink Stamps YouTube channel for another video. We're going to be sneaking some peeks of a brand new stamp set along with a stencil that Miss Ink Stamps is coming out with. And I'll have a little bit more information about the Instagram hop. I'll have my Instagram linked down below so you can head that way. But because this is a sneak peek, I'm not showing you the full stamp set. You're just going to have to come back if you want to see it on release day. So I've got a piece of cardstock. This actually measures a little bit more than 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I just had it in my stash and I just grabbed it. I knew I would trim it down later. I'm grabbing some mint tape and I want to make sure that that's on there straight. So I've lined up my waffle flower grip mat onto my glass mat. And then I'm going to line up my paper on the top of that so that I have everything lined up perfectly. Pardon my head. And then we're going to tack down our brick stencil. So that brick stencil comes from Miss Ink Stamps. We're going to build a scene. I tend to love to do that when it comes to Miss Ink Stamps stencils. They're just so easy to do it with. There's so many amazing stencils. I don't know if you've gone and checked them out, but I highly recommend it. Stencils are such an inexpensive thing to have in your stash. You can get so many of them and then use them over and over and over again for all the things. I mean, I think this brick stencil I've used, gosh, countless times. I think I used it, no, I didn't use it on the last card I made for Miss Ink, but I did on the one before. I just love it. And then here is the stencil we're going to be using. So this stencil is called Flames. This is brand new. And I'm just going to mask off parts of it that I don't trust myself to keep my blending brush away from. If you're using a smaller blending brush or a blending tool, you easily could, but I'm using my big one, and so I make big round circles with that, and so I don't trust myself. So I've masked that off, and I used some Over the Moon for my smallest flame, and then I'm going to move it up, and we're going to move on to our second flame. And for this one, I'm going to use some Roar, and I should have probably used the masking tape up at the top as well, but I didn't. And I only get a little bit of an issue, but I get that mostly covered with the images that I use. So we've used our Roar and a blending brush. And then I'm going to use we're going to move up and we'll use our final flame. And once again, I am going to mask off the top of that. But we're going to use some Bee Sting for this one. It's a really pretty red. So I start out doing it, then I realize you're probably going to go beyond that. So let's mask that off. And then I start off heavy at the top as I did with all the colors and then just sort of bring that color down. So that way I'm not completely covering the color that I just did, but you can see the different variations. It's such a neat stencil. And there's also a mask for that last one, which I do it wrong here, but I'll flip it and you'll see. It's meant to mask off that flame so you can do whatever you need to on the background. So I'm sticking that down. I'm also going to mask off where the brick is, and then I'm going to make my ground. So my ground is going to be some Shady. It's Shady ink from Simon Hurley Create. And once again, masking off my flames just to make sure that I don't get the ink where I don't want it. And the Shady ink is actually a much darker gray than the Woof that I used for brick. So once that's done, you're going to see the nice little one layer scene that we made. Like I said, I absolutely love doing that with Miss Ink Stamps stencils because there are so many. Like I said, highly encourage you to go check them out if you haven't. You might be very pleasantly surprised by how many you're just going to have. I love them. I absolutely love them. All right, so I do want to do a little bit more. You know I do love my splatter. So I brought in this Distress Mica stain. It's Jack-o'-lantern. I don't know if that one's actually still available or if that was a one-time deal or if they brought it back. I'm not sure. But I wanted the sparkly bits, and so I'm shaking that up, trying to get all that mica spread up in there. And all I'm going to do, I'm not going to spray. I'm actually going to just take the lid off and splatter it that way. Get some big splatters, some little ones. It's great. Very happy with that. And that's going to take care of our background completely. And we're going to set that off to the side to dry while we stamp out our images. So I've got some Express It cardstock. It's just a really good cardstock for stamping and coloring with alcohol markers. I'm going to use my Olo markers. It's just a crisp white. It's a very stark white cardstock. And it absorbs the color perfectly and helps you with the blending process as well. So I'm grabbing out several of the images. As you can see, this is obviously a big stamp set. lots of sentiments, lots of little images, lots of bigger images as well. And we're going to stamp up the ones there. We're going to ink those up with some blackout ink, and the blackout ink works really well with alcohol markers also. It's this dumpster fire stamp set. Just as soon as I saw it, I was like, please, please, I want that. I love it so, so much. That's another thing about Missing Stamps that just makes me so happy, is that she has so many snarky stamp sets. That's like right up my alley. And there aren't really many companies that do that. I haven't found any that do. And so when I find one that does, like Miss Ink, I'm all about it. Like I am all about it. So I love these little trash pandas. Cute little story about trash pandas. When we first moved to Huntsville, which was, I guess, about 6 years ago now at this point. Wow, 6 years ago. When we moved there, they had talked of bringing a AAA baseball team there, and they were going to call it the Trash Pandas. And I thought, oh, that's so cute, a panda in the trash. Not realizing what that actually meant was a raccoon. And now that I know, I love it so much. We are big fans of the Trash Pandas there in Huntsville. I have a jersey and everything. It's such a genius little mascot for the city of Huntsville, because it's actually called Rocket City also. And so our little trash panda, he has astronaut outfits and everything. He's super fun. So, and we live in Columbus right now, which they just opened up their own team called the Clingstones, and the Trash Pandas will be coming here. So I know that was a whole thing, but yeah, big fan of our little trash pandas. So I'm coloring those up, not even sure if I'm doing it correctly, but creative license. And I did use some red grays for our trash panda. I have some other grays I'm going to bring in for the trash can and the wheels. We're going to use some warm grays for that, but we'll just blend out our colors. I've put all those up on the screen for you, and he's just turning out so darn cute. And there's another image in the stamp set that has another raccoon, so you've got options. All right, so here we're going to color the trash can using the warm gray one and bring out that color. There are so many great stamp sets and stencils and dies being released with this release, so be sure to hop around and check it out. Tomorrow is another Instagram hop. You're going to want to come on back to Miss Ink Stamps on Instagram and check out all the stuff being released. You get peeks of all of it, and so you're just going to want to see it all. Or maybe you're not, because then you're going to want to buy it all. There are stuff I didn't get in my stash, and I think I might just have to. But the stuff I did get, I'm really excited about. All right, we're coloring our trash can a green color. I love it. Dumpsters, I've seen them blue, I've seen them brown, I've seen them green. I mean, whatever color you want, right? And so I'm using some G1.7. I'm going to bring in some G1.8 to make that a little bit darker in some areas. Now, because there are flames with this, for the lid, I end up using a lighter color, because obviously a flame is going to give a light, right? So I wanted that to be a little bit lighter just on the lid of our dumpster. And this is where I bring in some G1.4, and then I'm going to blend that out with that G1.7. Is it perfect? No, it isn't, but that's okay. I like the way it turned out. So we'll use that 1.7 and blend down into the 1.4, and then we're going to bring in that 1.4 and blend that out even a little bit more, just so that it looks really good. And then we'll start working on our flames. I'll color some more trash in there with our little panda, our little raccoon. And then I'll color our flames. That one was, I didn't do a good job of putting my colors up on the screen. I think that was Y2.3. This one is O2.5. And then for the last bit of flame, I use OR 2.5. It is an orange-red color, really pretty. And I thought that matched really well with the flame colors that I stenciled in. I'm always checking my Olos. I don't know if you've dealt with or played with the Olos before, but sometimes those markers can have a little drip to them. So if you notice your marker, pay attention to the tip of your marker while you're coloring. If it gets really, really shiny, it might be about ready to drip. So I'm constantly trying to take a look at that and make sure that it isn't doing that. I didn't have any problems this time. That always makes me happy. And we are just about ready to die cut these out. So I went ahead and die cut them out. And now I'm going to play around with placement, but I'm going to stamp out the sentiment on the front. And it's a cute little sentiment. It does have one word in there that might be for others, but it's just too perfect. I had to use it. So I'm going to stamp that right on the front. We're using VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. It's a nice crisp black ink. And then I'm going to trim down that whole background to be 4 inches by 5 1/4 because I do want to have a white border when I attach that down to my card base. So I'm just trimming off any of that excess, and I'll do most of the top because I don't want to cut off any of the flames. So I'll just cut off some of the brick. So there we go. It's ready. We'll bring in our card base, which is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches, and I just folded that in half at 4 1/4, and that'll give us a nice white border around it. I'm going to grab one more sentiment, and we're going to stamp that on the inside. It's probably my favorite from the whole stamp set. There's some great sentiments in here. May the dumpster fire within you burn brighter than the dumpster fire around you. I love that so much. And then I'm going to pull out some flies. We've got some little flying flies. We have some just the little image of a fly, and they're so cute. This one has this little flying trail behind him, which is perfect for garbage, right? It also gives you the idea that maybe there's a funk to the garbage. But I just love this. That inside makes me so happy. All right, now we can glue down our card panel to our base using some liquid glue. And then for our pieces, I'm going to glue some of them down, but I want to add some dimension as well. So I'm going to glue down our dumpster using that liquid glue. And then for the other pieces, like we're going to add a flame to the side of the garbage can here. And I'm doing it on this because I do want to add some foam tape to the back of them. And it just makes it a little bit easier if I do this, because then I can add some of that foam tape to the overlapped flame as well. So how cute. So here we go. We're using foam squares, and then we'll peel off that release paper and we can start adhering the rest of the pieces down. So we've got our cute little marshmallow roasting raccoon, and then we got this little dumpster diver. And then once that's done, that's it. That's done. I mean, the card is done. I'm so happy with it. Head on down to my description box so that you can head to Instagram and check out the hop and check out all the new stuff for today that she's showing. If you like this video, hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Be sure to check out all that Miss Ink Stamps has going on over on their blog, Facebook page, and Instagram for more crafty inspiration. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you soon.